not on. Can you guys hear me now? Check, check, mic check, mic check. Let me see. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. I saw 46 messages and ran to the chat. What's up, Icefire? Shadow. J Tip says no audio. Okay, all right, cool. I got the audio straight. Y'all should be able to hear me now. Can y'all hear me? All right, now we good. All right, so real quick, going back over that first game, my fault. Real quick, going back over that first game. Top play for me will be Orlando in the first half. They're on the first leg of a back-to-back game. They play Philly tomorrow. It makes sense for them to kind of come in here, want to clean Washington up early, and then just kind of coast. So I do lean towards. I wanted to get on the contrarian under, couldn't quite get there. And I do, with both of these teams playing on the first leg of a back-to-back, I do kind of lean towards Washington being. I'm sorry. If Washington covered this game, it really wouldn't surprise me. I just don't think that. I think Orlando is the better team, and I like them earlier in the first half in this spot, specifically against a Wizards team that's still kind of struggling defensively. I would like Orlando a little bit more if they had Suggs in this spot. Joe Ingles doesn't really move the needle for me one way or another, but I do want Suggs in there. And my top look in this game would be Orlando in the first half, just because they are on the first leg of a back-to-back. I think they can kind of keep it going. Also, Washington should be in a flat spot here. Second leg of first game back home after the 5-game road trip out west. So that's the way I'm kind of looking in this spot. I would be looking towards Orlando in the first half, and that's my top look in this game, but I didn't quite get there yet. Still got some time before we got to play this one. So those are my thoughts. My apologies for having the mic turned off. I didn't even I'm not sure why my mic was off. It should never even been off. But those are my thoughts there. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to try to make this pretty quick show. So next game up, we got Nets. We got Pistons. This line actually moved in favor of the Pistons. Opened at 7 with Brooklyn laying 7. Of course, these two teams did just play on Saturday night. We saw Brooklyn able to get off the losing side themselves. They had lost 3 games in a row. And now you see them laying 6.5, down to 6 on some books, and its totals dropped 4 points from 233 all the way down to 229.5. It's also some 229s out there as well. For Detroit, I saw Isaiah Stewart listed as probable, Killian Hayes also listed as problem, and Jalen Duren, who they really need. Jalen Duren. I've been talking a lot about, how much I think Jalen Duren means to this team. The Nets, this team has not really looked good on the road. They're 5-8 on the road. This is their first game after 3 straight home games as well, and it's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Bucks tomorrow. On the road, they actually haven't won a game by 7 points, but one time out of 13 tries this season. So 13 road games, they've only won by 8 points or more, by 7 points or more once. So all of that kind of, I know you call me crazy, man. I don't think Detroit going to win the game, but it wouldn't surprise me if Detroit was able to get the cover here. Detroit, they've absolutely been terrible, which is why I can't take them in the spot. 1-13 at home, 2-8 in the last 10, 4-10 against the spread at home on the season. It's not a spot that I wouldn't be quick to lay the points with Brooklyn in this spot. That's all I'm saying. I think that Detroit could sneakily kind of keep this game close. If they don't cover here, I think they got Boston on deck coming up. They probably definitely won't cover that one, depending on how big the number is. But I do think as they get Jalen Duren back and they get him kind of integrated into the offense, I think because they lack rim protection, they lack rebounding, they lack all the different things I've been talking about with this team without Jalen Duren being out there. They don't really have a true center. Marvin Bagley is not a true center in my estimation. He's more like a power forward. He just gets bullied, and they keep turning the ball over so many times. So I do lean Detroit plus the 6.5 in this spot, but definitely not something I'm putting my money on here. Also didn't play any player props, but maybe a look towards Cade. He's been the guy that just has the ball in his hands the most. And I think he's been cashing over his points plus assists. So I think the line's like 29.5. So those are my thoughts on that game. Let's see what you guys hear. Shadow says Cade points and Dinwiddie assists. What's up, AOD? Prolific, crispy chatting with no sound. Yeah, my fault, man. I didn't know my sound was off. All right, let's see. It sounds like y'all got a lot of thoughts there. Let's go to the next game. So we got T-Wolves and we got Thunder. Pretty interesting game here. This line was actually it opened at 4.5 in favor. Opened at 4 in favor of Oklahoma City. You see it come all the way down to 2, and now it looks like he's getting pushed back up to 2.5. That's of course with the news that Josh Giddey is going to play in this game, although Jalen Williams is still listed as questionable. He's a big component to this game. Potentially their second best player. Maybe you throw Chet in there, but either way, it's Josh, it's SGA, and then second is kind of up for grabs. Minnesota, Cat still listed as questionable. We know he didn't play, and they didn't even need him in that game against Sacramento the other day. They went into Sacramento as 3-point dogs and won outright. Minnesota is a really, really good team. I kind of keep hinting on that. They are the best. They have the best record in the Western Conference. They're 10-5 straight up on the road. They are just 7-8 against the number. OKC 10-5 against the spread and straight up at home. This is their 4th straight home game, so typically not a spot you want to fade them in. And the first leg of a back-to-back, they actually host the New York Knicks tomorrow. So this is a difficult game for me to cap, man. I really don't like betting against the Timberwolves, as most people on the show know. And I really don't like betting against OKC at home, which is why I stayed off for the Lakers in that game before that game on Saturday, before the last game they had before Christmas. Head-to-head, Minnesota has kind of owned this team. They for some reason they just match up really well with the Thunder. I remember going back to the play-in game last year when they absolutely smoked them. I think it was like 120-95, and that game was in Minnesota last year for Minnesota to actually play against the Denver Nuggets in the first round, and then they got smoked. I think they ended up winning one game. Minnesota 9-1 straight up, 7-3 against the spread versus Oklahoma City. Their last 10, like I said, they just really struggle against this team and the length that they have. They are 7-3 to the under as well. Last 3 matchups have actually gone under, and I think that's the way I would look to kind of play this one. Is under would be the top look for me. It's the numbers actually going up. It opened at 225, is up to 227.5. I don't care about that. If I'm playing it, I'm playing it under. OKC in the first half is another look, and this is actually in my best slip. I haven't gotten there yet. Press the button, but OKC in the first half. I think just revenge game here. These two teams did play earlier this season, and OKC lost. I think they lost 108-103. OKC's been the better first half team throughout the season, right? 18-9. We're just noticing that the pattern with some of these teams. Sometimes you can't play these teams in the first half because either one, they don't know how to finish a game. Two, they just don't have the players to finish a game. And you really need their leadership, right? A lot of teams come out and they what we've seen is that a lot of teams just come out and they run out of gas because they either going too hard at the beginning of the game or whatever the case might be. So I think OKC in the first half is the right spot here. 18-9 on the season is Oklahoma City in the first half. 11-4 against the spread at home in the first half. So that's super profitable. And they're off the loss to the Lakers. Minnesota on the opposite side, 11-17 against the spread in the first half. And they're just 6-9 against the spread on the road in the first half. Remember, one thing we know about Minnesota, the best third quarter team. I've been saying this for a while. Minnesota's the best third quarter team in the league. And then, like I said, you got the revenge game here. They lost earlier this season. Would love to know the status of Cat if I'm playing the under. Also, can wait in this spot as well because if Cat gets ruled in, you definitely get a better number for OKC in the first half, I think. Also, you really want Jalen Williams in this spot. So if both of those guys get ruled in, I will be taking OKC in the first half. But if and then I just kind of pick if one of them is ended up being rolled out and the other one ends up playing. So those are my thoughts on this game. I think the props just been going a little crazy for me. So I didn't play anything officially in this game. Probably just gonna stay off the props and just play OKC in the first half. Let's see. Jabari, going back to the chat, Jabari says, nice Claxton double-double. So he likes Claxton in a double-double spot here. Nick Claxton in a double-double. Let's see. Appreciate the $5 dono. From I'm not even gonna try to butcher your name, bro, but I appreciate it, man. He says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Nah, I'm not muted anymore. I was muted, my fault, but appreciate you dropping the dono, man. And same game, Jay says someone dropped the Twitter link in here. You guys can't hear me again? Did my mic go out again? Let's see. Let me just change it real quick to my AirPods. Can you guys hear me now? My mic should be good. My mic should be even better if you guys couldn't hear me. You go to Twitter, you search for ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's, 2 N's. You should be good now. So, all right, cool. Everybody can hear me. Great. All right, let's keep going then. So we got through the first couple games. The next game up, we have Grizzlies, Pelicans. So we just cashed with the Grizzlies the other day. We actually failed to cover. No, we didn't. We didn't take the Pelicans. I almost took the Pelicans in that spot. They were in a really good spot the other day against the Houston Rockets. But the Pelicans are another one of those teams, man. They can't close out the game for whatever reason. I'm not sure if people had a chance to watch this the other day, but the Pelicans were actually winning that game the other day against the Houston Rockets. They won the first quarter, won the first half. Well, I think they lost the first quarter. They won the first half and lost the fourth quarter. It's really, really rare that you see a 7.5-point favorite playing against a team that's on the second leg of a back-to-back lose the fourth quarter by 7 points. So for me, what that's telling me is when the game's on the line, the Pelicans don't know what to do with the basketball. You got a lot of playmakers out there. You got CJ McCollum, you got Brandon Ingram, of course, you got Zion, and they just turned the ball over. We saw them do this the other day, last Tuesday, when Ja Morant made his return to the NBA. We saw them do the same exact thing. The Pelicans were up by 24 points in the second quarter of that game. Now in this one, Marcus Smart is questionable for a return. He should return in this game, is what I'm reading. He was supposed to return in the last game, and of course it was like an illness. But I think whatever lower leg injury he had, I think he's fine for that. So he is questionable to return this spot. Hasn't officially been ruled in. Nobody on the Pelican side that means anything to the game is like really questionable at all. Cody Zeller is listed as questionable, but he doesn't mean that much. Memphis, of course, they're a different team without with Ja Morant being in. The 3-0 straight up, and I want to say 3-0 against the spread as well. This is the second game of a 4-game road trip for them. They actually play in Denver on Thursday. I'm looking at the Pelicans in this spot, but I can't play them full game yet again. We know that the Pelicans are a really good team at home. They just had a mishaps against the Houston Rockets in that second leg of a back-to-back, which is why I like them to bounce back early in this spot. We bet on the Pelicans a couple times in the first quarter in those bounce back spots, and they have not been cashing. But first half seems to be the play. So 10-5 against the spread at home, 9-6 straight up. They, like I said, they just can't close a game. I wouldn't feel comfortable with them having to win this game by multiple possessions at the end, but I do trust them in the first half. The first half number -2.5. This is a quick revenge game as well. We of course we know. Oh, okay, I thought I saw Zach LaVine going to the Lakers. All right, my fault. Of course, we know that this is a quick revenge spot. Like I said, these two teams just played. The Pelicans didn't have to travel anywhere. They had a home game where they lost to Houston. And if you got a chance to go through and listen to the post game interview or read the post game articles or whatever the case might be, Zion and Herb Jones, I think it was, or it might have been Trey Murphy, talked about having to be better to close the games. I think that the Pelicans could potentially give Ja Morant and his Grizzlies team their first loss since Ja's return. But even more so, I just think that they're fired up in this spot, especially coming off a loss in a game that they definitely should have won against Houston the other day. So I played the Pelicans. You go through and just kind of look at the numbers. The second half, they're -7.5. I'm sorry, fourth quarter, they're -7.5. And this is what the Pelicans do. They jump out to these big leads, specifically in the second quarter. So if you can bet a second quarter for the Pelicans, you probably get an even better number. But first half specifically, -2.5 is the way I chose to play the Pelicans. This is the one play that I made right before I started the show. Haven't even given it out yet. But Pelicans, first half against the spread, the number was -106 on FanDuel. It's the best number that I got. Let's see what y'all saying in the comment section real quick. And then we'll get to another game. What's up, Justin? Appreciate you for pulling up. HC Pick says happy holidays and good health. Appreciate you, my brother. El Sancho says, nah, you're chilling. Okay. Colin says running back Claxton blocks against Detroit +130 for 3 is too good not to take. That could be a really good look. They turn the ball over a lot. So whether they're getting their shots blocked, whether they're just turning the ball over left and right, it's crazy how bad the Detroit Pistons are right now. But like I said, I do think that they can cover today. Shadow says, would you choose between Zion and Ingram points? Absolutely not. I'm not playing either one. Shadow, I can't figure out the Pelicans. I think, with them having a full squad, it's really difficult for me anyway to tell who's going to have the bigger game because they still got, guys off the bench that can kind of catch fire as well. I will tell you, Brandon Ingram was absolutely cooking them. And CJ McCollum also hit 5 threes, I think, in that spot. I want to say Dream was on his threes last week when these two teams just played, and he was cooking until the fourth quarter. If you watch that game in the fourth quarter, he couldn't even hit the rim. For some reason, all his shots were going either left or right, and they were just clanking off the backboard. So those are my thoughts there. What up, S. Dot? He says, how about those Christmas Day games? I know your Heat covered, man. My Lakers got smoked. Colin says also love Mike Conley over 10.5 points. All the focus will be on Ant, Cat, and Gobert. Thunder have been giving it up to point guards. He should get enough looks to go over. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Daniel says, yo, Chris, interested in what you think about this query. So since 2018, a revenge match. So it's a revenge match, and you're a road dog. In the previous line, you were getting 8 points, and now you're a road dog. In the previous line, is you're getting less than 5 points. Also saw some query where a previous away dog win shows a fade of Memphis and an under. Yeah, that's the way I would look at it, Daniel. I think the Pelicans are the right side in this game, even full game. I just can't lay the 5 with them because I don't know if they can win games by multiple possessions no more. It just feels like they don't know how to close. And with Ja Morant, he's fresh right now. Ja Morant is like not, he hasn't exerted all the energy that everybody else has. So while everybody else is trying to catch their second win because we're about 26, 27 games in, everybody's a quarter of a way in, Ja Morant just kind of hitting his stride. He just now starting to play. So what that tells me is that, and you kind of saw it in that first game, is that when everybody else is running out of gas, Ja just getting better as the second half starts to unfold. Also, sliding Ja Morant back in has been so huge for Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane just had a humongous game the other day, and it was primarily because it takes a lot of the scoring pressure off him, and he can get wide open shots again. Whereas he was trying to play point guard when Ja Morant was missing. So those are my thoughts. Daniel said dogs are not covering in this spot this season. I would agree, Daniel. I think that they could get smoked today, and they could definitely get their first loss of the season here with Ja Morant back. So yeah, Coop says he likes Pels first half as well. Estai says he likes the Pels first half. Prolific says, I think Grizzlies are really hungry right now. I'd be careful. Yeah, they are. You still gonna lose a game though, Prolific. They're not gonna win every game that Ja Morant comes back. So while I agree with you, they could win the game. I don't think they win the first half, and I'm cool. I'm comfortable laying the 2.5 in this spot here. All right, let's keep going. We got a lot more games to get into. I got some thoughts on some of these, but not a lot. Next game up, we got Spurs and we got Jazz. Yep. If you've ever heard me talk about the Jazz on the road, you know it's not a spot that I typically want to lay points with at all. I don't even like talking about the Jazz on the road. They're a two-way team for me. At home, you either back them or you stay off. On the road, you either fade them or you just fade them. That really is that's the only thing. But in this spot, however, I think this is a Jazz spot. The Spurs have been absolutely trash, and that's the biggest reason. The Jazz are super healthy in this spot. All right, so now we see Killian Hayes listed as questionable here tonight. I will tell you guys this. So that just popped up with an illness. Killian Hayes he's terrible anyway. It's addition by subtraction if Killian Hayes don't play. If Killian Hayes don't play, and somebody can go through and fact check me on this. But when Killian Hayes doesn't play, and Jaden Ivey does get the minutes for Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes is actually killing his. Jaden Ivey is killing his points prop without Killian Hayes. They kind of split in minutes. Like both of them get about 15 to 25 minutes. If he doesn't play, I know we were on Jaden Ivey one time. I think it might have been at the beginning of last week. That's the spot. It was against Philly, matter of fact. I remember, and the game was in Philly. That's the spot where you want to take Jaden Ivey props if Killian Hayes is not going to play. Or if Jaden Ivey plays 25 plus minutes, that's when you want to take his prop. Probably 9.5, 10.5 on his points. That's what I would put a little sprinkle on there. Just going to throw that in real quick. So getting back to the Spurs and Jazz game, the Jazz are probably as healthy as they've been in quite some time. When we were doing the show the other day, Jordan Clarkson was listed as available to play, and that kind of threw me off for a loop in that game because they were playing Toronto, and I liking Toronto in that spot. Thank God I didn't play them. Just don't got enough confidence in them at all, especially when you're losing to the Jazz. But the Jazz actually, I was looking at this earlier on the injury report. Keontae George got upgraded in this game, and it looks like he's going to play. THT also is going to play. So now you got Jordan Clarkson, you got Abaji, you got Lloyd Marketing, you got Walker Kessler. So you got a lot of guys in this spot for the Spurs specifically. For the Jazz specifically. Jazz is not a good road team. 6-11 against the spread on the road, 4-13 against this straight up on the road. They have won and covered 2 games in a row though, and just so happened they were dogs in both of those games. They went into Detroit. Remember, everybody was ruled out in that game, and they were 2.5-point dogs against the Pistons. They won that game outright by 8 points. Toronto caught Toronto on the second leg of a back-to-back coming home from Philly, and they beat them as well as 5.5-point or 5-point dogs in that spot as well. This is their 4th straight road game. They do play in New Orleans to finish the road trip on Thursday. I think they get smoked in that spot, but I think the Jazz can get the job done here. The Spurs are just 2-12 at home, and while they do cover in the first quarter, in the first half, that's the spot that we've been kind of hitting on. They're 1-10 in their last 10 games. First game back home after a 3-game road trip as well. So this is a spot that you typically want to fade the Spurs in. They do play in Portland on Thursday to start another 2-game road trip. So you got 3 road games, you come home for 1, then you go back on the road for 2 more. And that road trip to Portland is a 2-game mini back-to-back with Portland as well. So it's back-to-back in the sense of they'll play 1, have a day off, and then play again. They'll play Portland, 2 games back-to-back. So I do think you fade the Jazz. I do think you fade the Spurs in this spot. Problem is, I'm not laying 4. Maybe a live bet where you can get the money line. I just feel like the Jazz should win this game, but I'm definitely not laying points with them as a road favorite. Like I said, the last 2 wins they've had have been actually been a dog in that spot. Now you're asking them to win, and to win by multiple possessions if you take them at 3.5. So not the greatest spot here. But I couldn't take the Spurs. I definitely couldn't take the Spurs. Spurs have absolutely been trash lately, and I don't think it stops here. Victor Wembanyama did go through practice, did go through shoot around. Of course, he missed that game the other day against who were they playing against? Dallas, and because he was going through shoot around and tripped over the ball boy leg or something like that and missed that game. So he could potentially play in this spot. I actually expect him to play in this spot, but it wouldn't surprise me if Popovich kind of ruled him out because they want to be precautionary with him. Just because he is the future. He's the franchise, actually. So those are my thoughts there. It should be plenty of player props that you guys can get on in this spot. Maybe even Lauri Markkanen threes. The Spurs are one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league, of course. And for San Antonio, I'm not sure what to do with that team. So best of luck if you're playing any player props in that one. Markel says, took the under in Pels game. And what's up, bro? Appreciate you, Markel. What's up, my guy? I like the under in the Pels game as well, Markel. I'm start. I started the season taking a couple totals, well, specifically a couple unders, and games went over a couple more than I wanted. So I kind of started to tail back on the unders. We've hit on a couple unders recently, but I'm a chill on the unders for pregame. I like taking unders in the third quarter, especially after a big third quarter. I'll take the under live. So all my live plays on totals will be in the YouTube membership group. And we've been cashing on those live totals as well. But if I'm watching these games later, and I will be, we'll have some live plays on some of these totals. I just feel like the number is a tad bit too inflated, and then it goes a tad bit too low. And then before the game ends, it's a tad bit too high again, because you get these quarters where you see like 19 points scored, and then these big quarters where you see like 40 points scored, and it all kind of tails out where it's either a little bit higher or a little bit lower than the number. So you can get a better in-game number is what I'm saying on some of these totals. And if that Pelicans game, I was looking at that as well, Markel. I think it's 229. If it goes up to about 235, 236, that's when I'll come back in and take the under at the end of either the first half or the end of the third quarter. So could not talk you off of there. Coop says, leaning Keontae George assist, first game back from the injury, depending on his number. Yeah, I wonder how he's feeling after that, Coop. I would like to go through and look at that Jazz injury report to see how he's just to kind of see how he's feeling. Also be interested to see who's playing point guard for the Spurs in this spot, because the Jazz are also a team that gives up the most assists to point guard. So yeah, couple interesting points just by making that one comment there, Coop. Michael, appreciate you for joining as a member, man. Definitely big shout out to you. Hopefully we can kind of keep it going. Daniel says Utah stays giving up assists. Vassell at 5 is plus 150. Maybe Trey Jones when his line drops. That's what I was thinking, Daniel. Same mindset. Justin says, love the Pels first half. So we got some more Pels first half. Colin says, I'd love to target a Spurs player for assists, but who knows who's going to have the ball in their hands these days. I would agree there. The Spurs as an individual, as a team, like as a collection of players, I haven't really been necessarily watching their games. I haven't necessarily been. I don't know who's doing what. I know Devin Vassell has a big game, then he doesn't. I know that Keldon Johnson is capable of a big game, and then he's not. So just the inconsistencies there kind of keep me off, and I think it's better places to kind of, kind of play on the card. So those are my thoughts there. Let's keep going. Actually doing pretty good with time. I'm trying to get up out of here. Next game up, we got Pacers and we got Rockets. So the Rockets are 3-point favorites at the crib. Total in this one went from 236.5 up to 238. Right now, not the greatest spot for Indiana. Bruce Brown listed as out. He is their best defender on a team that really struggles to find defenders. Houston, Tari Eason did get listed as available to play. He was listed as questionable before the game start. The Pacers are 5-8 against the spread on the road, just 6-8 straight up, 3-7 in their last 10 games. The only covers that they have in their last 10 games are against the Bucks that they won outright as a dog in the in-season tournament game. The other two covers came against the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons. This Pacers team has been bad, man. They've actually only scored 110 points and 103 points in the last two games against the Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. Houston, this team is actually getting hot right now. 12-2, not even right now, but just in general. 12-2 at the crib, 11-2-1 against the spread, 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. So you got one team that's 3-7 against the spread, the Pacers. You got another team that's 7-3 against the spread, being the Houston Rockets. This is they did come off back-to-back wins and covers against the Dallas Mavericks. We were correct on them in that spot. We did play the under in the full game, and we played the Dallas Mavericks team total under without Luka in that spot. Then they went to New Orleans and actually got that win and held New Orleans under their team total in that spot as well. This is the first leg of a back-to-back game for them. They actually host the Phoenix Suns tomorrow. Probably not too much of a look ahead there, just because they like Houston, like Phoenix isn't really doing a lot. They're not doing a lot at all. I like the Rockets in this spot, man. I didn't play them, not quite yet. I do feel like the number should be, a little larger in my estimation. I think this should be like a 4-point spread, maybe 4.5. The Pacers defensively is just bad. So I know it's going to be super, super public to play Houston today, but Houston does feel like the right side in this one, just because the Pacers have been playing so bad. The Pacers also, we got to think about, when we think about how the game's going to go, right? The Houston Rockets are, the Pacers like to shoot a ton of threes. Houston been the best 3-point defense in the league. So if you can limit this team outside of the one game when they played against Atlanta, and Atlanta got really hot and beat them outright in that spot, first quarter, first half, and full game covered, I do think that Houston is the right side in this game. Houston gonna have to play defense though, and that's one thing that they have been doing. They also, if you go back and look at the head-to-head matchup, the Pacers have actually won 7 in a row against this team as well. So Houston should be, trying to turn the tide in this spot, and you definitely don't want to fade them at home. Unless you know something I don't know. The Pacers are capable of getting hot, but they don't play any defense at all. So there's a couple of different ways I was looking at playing this one. First and foremost, Obi Toppin. I know we've been talking about Jalen Green going under. I talked about Jalen Green and fading him. He's gone under in 8 straight games because he went under in that Pelicans game the other day as well. I can't play him in this spot just because the Rockets are so bad defensively. But I think Jalen Green could go under. I think Obi Toppin could go under. Obi Toppin numbers are super they're either really, really good or they're really, really bad. Like if he goes over, he's gonna kill us. If he goes under, he's gonna go way under. Like I'm talking about like 4 points and 3 rebounds under. So I think his whole PRA line is like 16.5. And that to me, that seemed a little scary to take, especially just without Bruce Brown, he could get even more minutes in this spot. So I didn't quite get there on him, but I do lean towards Obi Toppin to go under his points, rebounds, and assists. When I think about Houston, they're a really, really good defensive team. They're going to slow the pace down, but I thought the number might be a tad bit higher than 16.5. So that didn't really that didn't make me feel good that the number was so low. Other way, Fred VanVleet over his 8.5 assists. This was a -125 on FanDuel. Don't really like laying too much juice, but I do think that Fred VanVleet should finish this game with about 10 assists. It's a pace-up spot, of course, against the Indiana Pacers. Indiana is, of course, one of the worst defenses in the league. And Fred VanVleet, we've seen him in this role, playing in pace-up spots. He just had like a 12, 13, 14 assist game against the Atlanta Hawks the other day. And I think this could be, pretty similar. The Atlanta Hawks actually got a better defense than the Indiana Pacers over the last 5-10 games as well. So Fred VanVleet double-double. Fred VanVleet over the 8.5 assists. Fred VanVleet double-double in the win. Those should all be good money. The other way I'm kind of looking at this game is Jabari Smith Jr. Jabari Smith Jr., for people who don't know, this dude's actually been hooping. I was looking at specifically his points plus rebounds, just because we know that the Pacers are one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. Jabari Smith Jr. rebounds is 9.5. He has double-digit rebounds, I want to say, in 3 straight games. His points prop sitting at 17.5. You put the two together, you get 26.5 on BetMGM at -120, or you could take the 27.5. I think it was available on FanDuel for less juice. Back to back to back. So 3 games in a row, he's actually cleared this number. And it feels like he's kind of carving out his role in Udoka's system in my estimation. It's a pace-up spot, of course, just because, so he's going to get more shots because they're playing against the Pacers. And the Pacers have been very, very weak defensively. Jabari Smith Jr. should absolutely be able to eat, I feel like, in the paint. So I think of all the props that I kind of just went through, and it's a lot. It's always a lot of props you can play in the Pacers game. I think Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points and plus rebounds will be my top look. I think Fred VanVleet over his 8.5 assists will be my second top look. Obi Toppin under his points, rebounds, and assists. And then, like I said, a tad bit reluctant on Jalen Green in this spot, just because I do feel like he's playing against one of the worst defenses in the league. Eventually, he's going to have to go over his points prop, even though he has gone under in 8 straight games. So those are my thoughts. Like I said, I also lean towards Houston to be able to cover the 3, but didn't quite get there with anything in this game. If I had one top look, it would be Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points plus rebounds in this spot. Is how I would look to play this one. Let me see what you guys are saying there. Also, I know I didn't mention him, but Halliburton's been absolutely killing it. It's not his fault. The reason they've been playing so bad. Let's see. Livestone says Wemby points plus rebounds not an auto bet. It could be. I didn't play it. I don't know how healthy he's going to be in this spot today, Livestone, but it absolutely could be. Coop says if I had to pick a Spur, it would be Trey Jones assist. Hard to pick player that doesn't average over 10 potential assists in their last 5 games. I also agree there. El Sancho says I'm feeling Houston team total over 120.5. It's either that, El Sancho, or it's going to be the Pacers to go under their team total. And I want to say the numbers like 114.5. The Rockets are not giving up 114 points at home a lot this season, outside of maybe 1 or 2 games. I want to say Charlotte and I want to say Atlanta in the last game, but there's something like 10-2 to the under on opposing teams. And it's all about dictating pace. They play at a very, very snail's pace, bottom 3, bottom 5 in the league in pace. So it's really just, who's going to dictate pace. If they're going to run fast, like the Pacers want them to, then it's going to be an over on their team total. If they're going to dictate pace, they could potentially go under their team total and hold the Indiana Pacers under their team total. Hope that makes sense. Markel says he likes that over. He took the over 237.5. Let's see. Coop says loving Jabari Smith points plus rebounds. He likes the 26.5 as well. He says Jabari's been playing well as of late, and the Pacers are struggling against starting power forwards. Yeah, that would be my top look as well. Avery says Houston has no size. Miles Turner about to eat on them. Buy low, sell high, just like stocks. Pacers plus 3. Ooh, okay. So opposite side here, Avery. I would actually disagree a little bit as well. I think when I look at what they were able to do against Valanciunas and Zion Williamson in that last game, they were able to slow him down. If they can do that, then Miles Turner not about to go down there and score a bunch of points, is he? Miles Turner scored points in the paint. How many he averaged? I gotta look that up. So I don't know if we agree there, Avery, but best of luck, my brother. I hope you cash. Michael says Halliburton will hit his assists and is due for a big scoring game. I think he had 29 and 15 in the last game, Michael. Okay. And let's see. Raptors fan also likes Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points plus rebounds. What's up, David? Appreciate you for tapping in as well. He says, shout out to S. Dot. Cash to keep halftime and full time. So, yeah, shout out to S. Dot, man. He know how to back his heat. He know when to back him. Let's see. Coop says Trey usually opens at 5.5. Talking about Trey Jones assists in this spot. Couldn't talk him off of that spot. David says the Pacers are chicken noodle soup. That means the Houston Rockets are going to get right in this spot. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. I had a lot of thoughts on that game. Like I said, didn't pull the trigger on any of them. Still got, plenty of time. The lines aren't outrageous. Like, nothing's really scaring me too much. Houston also, first half, has been something that they've been cashing, religiously as well, specifically in the first half. So, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, not a spot for me that I really – if the Pacers would have won the other day, I probably would fade them in this spot. If Houston wasn't off 2 straight wins, I probably want to play them in this spot. But it can kind of go either way. Like I said, the one reason I'm taking it light today is because you don't really know the motivation of these players, right? Like, where were they? How motivated are they going to be, in a Christmas Day game? Like, does it take a long time to kind of lock in? I've heard from players before that after Christmas until after the All-Star break. So this time right now between December the 26th and the All-Star break is typically right before Valentine's Day weekend is the toughest stretch of the NBA season. It's the toughest stretch because you really lack that motivation, to try to find that break. And it's kind of, like, I guess it's symbolic of, working in the real world, like sometimes you kind of look forward to those breaks, and it can be hard motivation wise, which is why I kind of, I'm gonna play kind of light. Also, when you think about the books they got plenty of data now on all these players because they've been playing basketball for 2 months now. It's December 26th. So now the lines are going to be sharper, right? It's something to kind of take into consideration, especially for the heavy volume bettors. But just wanted to kind of make sure I mentioned that real quick because it was something that I was thinking about as well. What's up, Will Jackson? He says, what up, though, Chris? Happy holidays to you and the fam. Let's get those likes up. Yeah, I appreciate that, Will. Definitely hit the like button for me if you guys join late, if you guys are enjoying the show, if it helps at all. Let's see. Michael says, one more comment real quick. Michael says, I tuned in late. What do you think about Cade Cunningham points tonight? I would look at Cade over his points plus assists in this one, Michael. I think he could be in a pretty good spot tonight. Also, since the show started, we saw Killian Hayes got downgraded to questionable. If Killian Hayes doesn't play, I really like Jaden Ivey tonight, man. Probably not enough to play him because I'm kind of staying low on props. But I like Jaden Ivey if Killian Hayes is ruled out because I know that Jaden Ivey is going to play 25 plus minutes, and if he does, he's been typically balling in that spot. So those are my thoughts there. Let's see. David says, yeah, man, the Pacers need to have a fist fight in their locker room or something. Boys went absent since Vegas. Yeah, I think some of it is just like that's just who they were. Like we got to remember when they were winning games, they still weren't great defensively. What's happened recently, I talked about this the other day. That was their 7th game in 11 days, and they were traveling all over the place, in and out. And I think when you rely so much on offense and you can't depend on your defense to get stops at all, eventually your offense is not going to be as hot, right? Ebbs and flows, right? You're going to get hot. You're going to regress, and that's what we saw from the Pacers. They just got really, really hot at the right time. So. And now, when you are playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, a third game in 4 nights, a fourth game in 6 nights, a fifth game in 7 nights, a 6th game in 9 nights, when you're in those type of spots, eventually, you're going to see some regression, right? That's when games go under, when everybody had bet the over, right? So just kind of some things to think about, especially if you want to be, really, really sharp and locked in. Go through and kind of count those games. Let's keep going. We got a couple more games to get to. Next game up, we got Hawks, we got Bulls. I don't really have a lot on this one. I will say that the Bulls definitely messed up the 2-leg money line parlay that I had the other day. Not sure how they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wasn't really locked in and watching that game. This line actually opened with Atlanta laying a point and a half. Trae Young did go through shoot around. You see it down to a pick 'em because it actually had flipped in favor of Chicago. Jalen Johnson also hasn't played a game in about 3 weeks for this Atlanta team. He is listed as probable. DeAndre Hunter missed that last game against Memphis. He's listed as out. For Chicago, this is the reason why you can't play the game because Vucevic is listed as questionable with a groin injury. You need Vucevic in this spot because Chicago don't got a lot of centers. DeAndre Drummond's like 120 years old. If you slot him in at the center, who's going to play the backup center? Atlanta, another one of those teams that there's a lot of variance with them, right? We know that even with Chicago doing really, really well since Zach LaVine went out, one thing that Chicago really can still kind of struggle with is 3-point defense, right? We see them kind of get lit up from time to time, specifically against those games in Miami. And what do the Hawks want to do? They want to get out here and shoot the 3 ball. That's all they want to do is shoot a bunch of threes. Trae Young has this streak going where he has 30 points and 10 assists, trying to catch up with Oscar Robertson. I think he needs like 3 or 4 more games in a row. So that's what they're going to do. A lot of these guys are on the trade market as well. Atlanta I think that they just really relying a lot on their offense and not playing a lot of defense. So I think this game goes over, but I need to see what's happening with these guys that's in there. Who's going to play, who's not. But I think the game could go over. 235 seems like a high total for a Chicago game. It seems like a low total for an Atlanta game. So I don't really, think Chicago. I think Chicago's going to regress back to the mean just a tad bit as well. They got it really, really hot when Zach LaVine went out, and of course they've been kind of riding that. Like I said, should they bounce back in this spot? They absolutely should. Did they have to travel over the break? No, they didn't. They are also off a loss, like I said, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it could be a bounce back spot, but Atlanta is just a high variance team, man. Not necessarily wanting to fade them just because, like I said, they can get hot. And Chicago's offense isn't the most potent in the NBA. So you really gonna have to bring it on the defensive end in this spot, in my estimation. So I didn't play the game, but I would lean towards the over. I think both of these teams can score. And if Atlanta gets hot, Chicago could potentially be in trouble in this game and potentially lose outright because this game is literally a pick now at this spot. So those are my thoughts. Peter says thoughts on Claxton rebounds and points. I could absolutely see it, Peter. I think the one thing that scares me just a tad bit, like I said, Duren is coming back. Claxton is a great rebounder. Duren is also a great rebounder. Claxton should not get more rebounds today than he got in the last game unless you see a big minutes restriction on Jalen Duren tonight. Jalen Duren is a better rebounder than Nicholas Claxton. So, yeah, just take that with a grain of salt, just a little bit on Claxton, rebounds specifically if you're looking at his points plus rebounds. Coop says he's waiting on Jalen Johnson props. He says he's the spark plugs that the Hawks need. They struggle without him. Also, the Bulls are allowing the most rebounds to power forward. I can see it. J.S. Brown says Clint Capella double-double or Trey over his 10.5 assists. I think I would lean more toward, well, it really just depends, J.S. Brown. It depends to me if Vucevic plays. If Vucevic plays, Vucevic is going to try to bring Clint Capella outside the paint. So that double-double could be a little bit harder for him to get versus if Nicholas Claxton doesn't play. If Vucevic doesn't play, Nicholas Claxton double-double should be something that hits. It's going to be him and Drummond battling for rebounds. And Drummond, I don't even think he's been shooting threes. I know he's an improved three-point shooter, but he would be more. I like Clint Claxton double-double more if Vucevic doesn't play in that spot. That's just my thought without deep diving into it and checking any of the head-to-head matchups over the last couple of meetings. Those are my thoughts. Coop, yep, this is right. He said he believes that Hunter is out for 2 weeks as well. He is going to be out for a couple weeks. That is right, Coop. What's up, Navi? He says, what's good, Chris? He says, hit the like and subscribe. Definitely hit the like button for me, man. As I said, it definitely helps with the algorithm. I want to say we almost had 200 likes, something that I don't think I've done in like 2 years, almost 200 likes on the last video. So I definitely appreciate that. Appreciate everybody stopping through and hitting the like button for me, man. Definitely shows the support. Appreciate that. Ski Roy says he thinks Atlanta and the Bulls goes under. I think I'm on the opposite side there, but I didn't play it. So best of luck. Best of luck to you there. And no problem, Peter. No problem at all. All right, last couple games we got. So we got Bulls and we just did Bulls. We got Kings and we got Blazers. This game is another game that I'm not extremely interested in at all. The Bulls, I keep saying the Bulls. The Kings are not in the greatest spot as far as travel-wise. They are coming off that road. They're coming off that homestand. They actually just played, what was it like? I feel like it felt like 10 games in a row at home. It wasn't 10, but it was 6 games in a row at home. And they did come off the loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in that spot after bouncing back and beating the Phoenix Suns 120. So this team is like literally going back and forth. They beat Washington, of course. That was on the second leg of a back-to-back. Boston comes in and smokes them. I had them +2 in that game. They closed at 3.5-point favorites, gave up 144 points in that spot. And then, you beat Phoenix in the bounce back 2 nights after that. We were right on them in that spot. And then I stayed off in that last game. They actually only scored 98 points and gave up 110. There was a game, however, that Malik Monk didn't play in. He's listed as questionable in this spot. If Malik Monk plays, I think the only way you could play this game is over. And I'm not really worried about. I know Shaedon Sharpe is listed as questionable with the thigh injury. DeAndre Ayton is also listed as questionable. If Ayton doesn't play, that's even more. Well, actually, I want Ayton to play because Ayton is not the greatest defender. He's a good rebounder, but he's not the greatest defender. I think they actually got a better defender on the team at the center position. So I think the only way to look, I'm not interested in laying points, especially, like win by margin. This is almost a double-digit spread. And the Kings could go into Portland and do that, but I'm not necessarily sure that they do. The Kings are 6-4 against the spread and straight up in the last 10 games that these two teams have played. The last time they played, though, November 8th, the Kings did win, but that game went to overtime. They only won by 3, and that game also went over the total. But like I said, it was an overtime game as well. The total was 221, and now you see the total all the way up to 236.5. It was a spot where the Portland Trailblazers were without a lot of their guys at the beginning of the season. So Portland has absolutely looked, cooked. They just got smoked to Golden State. They lost that game by 20. They beat the Washington Wizards when they were 4.5 point. I'm sorry, they lost to the Washington Wizards when they were 4.5 point favorites. And typically you want to buy on them as dogs. I think when I think about the Portland Trailblazers, I don't think about laying points, but I do think that, especially with having Brogdon, back, it looks like Coach Billups just put him in the starting lineup. He had a really good game in that last game against Golden State. They just need some continuity. They don't really have that. And you heard Chauncey Billups maybe 3 games ago. He said it kind of feels like the beginning of the season all over again because we got to buy that. We got to find that chemistry together. So, like I said, not a spot that I'm really on. I do think that they can score. I don't trust the Kings defensively. I think the Portland Trailblazers can put up points in this spot as well. But you do need Malik Monk in. You kind of want to wait on the status of Shaedon Sharpe and DeAndre Ayton, in my estimation, is the way I'm kind of looking at this one. No official play for me at all, but I'll be looking towards the over. The points are the total did go up from 235.5 up to 236.5, and it's actually up to 237. So it went up another half a point since the show been going on. But like I said, I want that injury news before I make a play in this one. And then let's see, we got one more game. Let me go back to the chat real quick. Not a lot of comments here. Skiroy says he takes that back. You don't like the under no more, Skiroy? Let me know why you don't like the under anymore. What's up, Courtney? He says happy holiday, bro. Happy holidays to you as well, man. To you and the fam. Hope everything good with you, Courtney. Let's see. Estai says Kings first quarter in the over. Kings first quarter in a bounce back spot. I could see that, Estai, especially after losing by 12 against Minnesota the other day. I could see that. And the over. I definitely agree with you on that over. Maybe even a first half over. I feel like the Kings score a lot of points in the first half. Portland does too. And then both teams kind of run out of gas late. I could definitely see a first half over too. Maybe I'll write that one down, look a little more into that. All right, so last game on the board for tonight, we got the Charlotte Hornets, we got the Los Angeles Clippers. So the Clippers had actually got hot. They still are somewhat hot. They are 7-3 in their last 10. But going through their last few games, they've lost 2 in a row against OKC and Boston. Just some bad travel spots, and they had actually played a lot of games in a row as well. So they got caught in some bad spots. They've also, been dealing with some injuries. PG missed a game. Kawhi missed 2 games in a row, and he's questionable tonight with the hip injury as well, which makes this game, to me, pretty unplayable. It's a couple different ways you can kind of look at it. And on the Charlotte side, real quick before I get into, my thoughts on the game, Terry Rozier is listed as probable. He missed that last game against the Denver Nuggets. We cashed on the under in that game, and we cashed on the team total under. Then you see Brandon Miller actually pop up as questionable. This team is depleted with injuries. Mark Williams also still not out there, still out indefinitely. I gave you guys the numbers on the last show. The Charlotte Hornets without LaMelo Ball, without Mark Williams specifically, they're losing those games. I want to say it was like 119 to 102. So they're losing by an average of like 17 points per game. You see this spread balloon from 11 all the way up to I saw it at 10 last night. Now it's looking like it looks like the open line is 11, but it's actually not. It's up to 12 and a half at some spots. The total is dropping. There's a couple different ways I feel like you can kind of play this one, but I still can't play it without the injury news. I want to know what's going to happen with Kawhi. I did check just to make sure that, it wasn't a really look ahead spot. The Charlotte Hornets going to be on this West Coast trip for a while. They actually play the Lakers on Thursday. Then they play Phoenix on Friday. And then they play the Denver Nuggets on Monday, on New Year's Day. And then for the Clippers, they're actually back home for at least next couple days. They actually got the Memphis Grizzlies, but they don't play them until Friday. So they get, some time off for this game as well. So the way I was kind of looking at this one was Clippers should smoke them. Absolutely, they should. I low-key want to get there on Charlotte team total. Just keep playing the under, even if I go like half unit and don't go full unit, because I think that they're going to really, really struggle to score in these spots. Here's the problem. The problem is the Clippers, while they are really good defensively, they can kind of let up off the gas and not really lock into the game plan, which I know Ty Lue wants them to play defense when they play against these teams at home specifically that really, really struggle. I've seen this story before. The Clippers were laying, how many points was it not too long ago when they were home favorites against the Portland Trailblazers? That they were laying 14 in that spot. That's what it was. They were laying 14 in that spot. They won that game by 5 points. They had everybody in. They won 132 to 127. So when I'm thinking about the Clippers laying these, like really, really big lines, it doesn't really make me feel great at all. Now they did cover against, well, that game was actually on the road, but they did cover against the Knicks. I think the Knicks are a much more formidable opponent. They were laying 6.5 in that spot. I just don't like the Clippers. I don't know how, another game to me just kind of goes back to motivation. I don't know how much I want to take the Clippers laying, these really, really big points, as a home favorite. So I want to see how many times they've actually been laying 10 points so far this season. And then I'm done. I'm literally done. 59 minutes. They are 0-2 against the spread, laying 10 points or more. The other game was a game, really, really fishy game against the Nuggets. It was the game that the Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray, didn't have Jokic. I don't even think they had Aaron Gordon. And it was the DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Jackson game. They were laying 11 points in that game. They lost outright. So yeah, I don't necessarily want to lay 12. I know that the Hornets are a much worse team. They would need Terry Rozier to absolutely get crazy. They would go crazy. They would need Brandon Miller to go crazy. They would also need big matchups from Bridges in this spot as well. But they should get smoked. They should absolutely get smoked. Maybe something that I'll play live. If I can get a better number on the Clippers, or as we get more injury information on Kawhi and Brandon Miller in this spot. But those are my thoughts on the game. I'll go through real quick and let you guys know what I played. Let's see. What's up, Tasha? She says at work, missed the show. Hey, it's up for review, Tasha. All you gotta do is go back. You can go back and watch it from wherever you want to. Navi, question about Sabonis over his assists. I think that could be the play, Navi. I absolutely do. You're not relying on the Kings to play defense if you're just taking Sabonis assists over. And I think he had a triple double in the last game. Well, not the last game against the Timberwolves, but he had a triple double against Phoenix. Phoenix really lacking bigs right now, man. Derek Lively looked like Baby Shaq last night. So yeah. Now Estai says I may tell with you. Will Jackson says not trying to track too far back, Chris, but I think that Chet over 1.5 threes is still a good look at -104. He took 8 last game, made 3. Maybe he got some family from Minnesota at the game tonight after Christmas. Yeah, I can see that, Will. Also, if he gets Gobert guarding him, yeah, Gobert not gonna want to be out there. So that makes a lot of threes if you want to play. It makes a lot of sense if you want to play Chet over his 1.5 threes. Will, cannot talk you off at all, my brother. Best of luck. I hope you cash it if you do get there with it. Let's see. Michael says Clippers don't ever cover big lines, and that's my thought process as well. Maybe you find a way to kind of chop it in half. It should be a bad spot for Charlotte though. Like an East Coast team traveling all the way out west the day after Christmas. I would kind of lean towards the Clippers. I think this is a game where the Clippers could win by 25. I just don't know how motivated they are going to be to win by that margin. A lot of the times this season when we've seen these home favorites laying 12.5 points or more, they've actually been cleaning up because a lot of these teams, as constructed at the time, don't necessarily deserve to be in the NBA. Like when them games where the Pistons were catching 15.5, 16, they were getting smoked in that spot. So real quick, let me just check. Home favorites this season laying 13 points. Home favorites laying 13 points this season are 11-0 straight up, but they're also just 4-6-1 against the spread, 8-3 to the over. Let's see. They've gone over their team total 1, 2, 3, 4. They've gone over their team total 7 times and only held under 4 times. So Clippers team total over 119.5 could be a look. They should absolutely be able to score that many points, especially if Kawhi gets ruled in. And nothing else really stands out in this one for me. Last 3 games have actually gone over, where the Bucks were laying 16.5. That game went over. The Kings were laying 12. No, we're laying 14 against the Wizards. That game went over. The Bucks were laying 16.5 against the Pistons. That game went over. So yeah, I could see it. Charlotte on the road as a dog of 10 points. I want to say is actually profitable to back them, but I'm not doing that much research. I could care less. Navi says, what do you think about Rozier points and assists or Zubac points plus rebounds? If as long as they're gonna play their full allotment of minutes, Navi, I would think that Rozier would. He posted he's not on the injury report, even though he missed the game last game. So yeah, Rozier tried to get busy no matter who he played against. I actually like Terry Rozier. This Charlotte team, I don't think is as bad. They keep getting decimated with injuries, and more so the decimation is like LaMelo just not able to play. When LaMelo can't play, they really struggle because he's their franchise. And it just happens year in and year out. So it looks like Charlotte is a lot better than they are, but we got to remember, man, it was just like 3 weeks ago. LaMelo was averaging a triple double, dropping 30 every single game. And Charlotte, you got to take a while to build that cohesiveness, even if you do have a lot of good players together. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I think Rozier over his points plus assists could absolutely get there. Now I'm not sure what the number will be. He's going up against a really good defense that is off 2 straight losses, but they should get Kawhi back, and I could definitely see Rozier going over. Zubac over his points plus rebounds, could see that as well. James Harden assists over, could also see that. Estai says, he says, question, Chris, do you play much futures? Not a lot, Esther. I play futures. If something comes to my mind and then I'm like, oh, let me go check that real quick, and I do my research and I see something that I absolutely love. Yeah, I'll play a future. I try not to tie up too much money in futures, but yeah, I will play like quarter unit, half unit sometimes on futures. It's typically nothing like super super big. Like I don't like put big money down on future bets. Nah, not at all. As JS Brown says, the bonus has a triple double last 3 or 5 games. Lines at plus 290 though. Yeah, he could definitely get one in this spot as well. I know that Aiden is a good rebounder, but Sabonis is a hell of a rebounder himself as well. Jermaine says, how about Suggs over 1.5 threes and over 11.5 points against the Wizards? Yeah, I think that could be a good look, Jermaine, if he plays. I didn't see where he got ruled in yet, but we know one thing about Orlando. Shout out to the coach Mosley, always gonna let us know who in and who out early. Gotta love him for that. Love Jamal Mosley. I wish all the coaches were more transparent in that way. So real quick, I'll tell you guys what I'm looking at and what's on my bet slip. So the only bet that I placed so far is the Pelicans. The Pelicans first half minus the 2.5. The Magic and the Wizards. If I'm playing the game, like I said, it's a sneaky play, man. I think that game could go under. Not playing the under before the game starts. Also think Orlando in the first half is the better play, especially with them having Milwaukee on deck for tomorrow. I think they probably want to get in and get out of that game. So matter of fact, let me get to the what I play segment. All right. So just kind of looks at all the games. So Magic and Wizards. If I'm playing it, I'm playing Orlando first half. I'm also playing. I'm gonna probably play the total live. Nets and Pistons. Call me crazy again, man. I do think the Pistons could. I think the Pistons could cover this one. I think they, like I said, the Nets have only won by 7 points or more one time out of 13 games so far this season, and they've actually not. They don't even have a winning record on the road so far this season, and they're coming off 3 straight losses and 3 straight non-covers on the road. So, and it could be one of those sleepy spots. The Pistons got a hell of a schedule coming up. They're not going to want to keep losing these games, although they probably will. But I do think that they can cover in this spot. I think 6.5 is too much, and I agree with the movement coming down from the 7 to the 6.5. T-Wolves and the Thunder. OKC first half minus the half a point will be my top look in this game. I do need Jalen Williams in there. Absolutely need him in this spot if I want to take the Thunder. I don't know if they win the game or not. Like I said, the Timberwolves have owned them as of late. I want to say they're 9-1 straight up in the last 10, but I do think that Thunder, especially off a loss to the Lakers the other day, get back right in this spot. They didn't have to travel anywhere over the break, over the Christmas break. They probably got a bad taste in their mouth as well. So I like the Thunder in the first half in that spot. Didn't quite get there. Like I said, I need Jalen Williams in. Grizzlies and the Pelicans. Oh, I actually changed the banner. My fault. Grizzlies and the Pelicans. I already talked about it. Pelicans first half minus the 2.5 off the terrible loss to the Houston Rockets. Also, revenge game. They did just lose to this team last Tuesday in a game where they had a 24-point lead. I like the Pelicans to bounce back in this spot. Think that they covered the game as well, but didn't quite get there. Don't trust their second half execution. And I'm not sure who the leader is on the team. Somebody got to step up and say, look, this is what we're going to do. And I don't know if they necessarily listening to their head coach. Jazz and the Spurs, ugly, ugly one where I think you close your nose, you cover your eyes, and you take the Jazz, man. They're a more healthier team. They are the better team on paper, and the Spurs are just really, really bad at basketball right now. So I do kind of lean Jazz as well, but not anything that I put my money on. Pacers and the Rockets, I do lean Rockets. I talked about that. Do lean Jabari Smith Jr. over his points plus rebounds. If I had a prop play of the day, that would be it. And I'm probably gonna get there. Just haven't hit the button yet. Jalen Smith. Hold on, let me start over. Jabari Smith Jr. over 26.5 points plus rebounds in this spot against a Pacers team that gives it up to power forwards, that gives up rebounds. Jabari Smith Jr. has actually been hooping. So I like Jabari Smith Jr. I also lean towards the Rockets minus the 3. Didn't quite get there with either one of those yet. Like Jabari Smith Jr. a little bit more than I like the Rockets though. Because the Pacers can kind of get hot. They shouldn't win this game, but wouldn't really surprise me, man. Hawks and the Bulls, not a game I'm really interested in. Do lean to over 235. Didn't play either. Kings and the Blazers, over. I lean over here as well, 236.5. Just don't trust the Kings defensively. And I do think that they are going to be able to score, but I need Malik Monk back in that game if I'm playing that. Clippers and the Hornets. Like I said, in this one, probably just a Clippers team total over 119.5. I think they should be able to get up and down the floor, but I need Kawhi to be in this spot. And probably something I'll end up live betting as well. So those are my top looks. Only thing I actually played was the Pelicans in the first half, but I got that OKC minus the half a point in the bet slip. Just thumb just kind of hovering over it, going left and right. Like I said, I need Jalen Williams in that spot in order for me to play him. Let's see what you guys are on real quick. And then anybody got any thoughts? Let me know what y'all thinking in the chat on Twitter, and I'll get a couple people up real quick before I jump up off here. Let's see. Tuned in late. I was out with the fam. Also, some reason didn't get any notifications on Twitter or YouTube. Yeah, sometimes it be acting a little crazy, Navi. Appreciate you for tapping in though as well. Daniel says a quick look for tomorrow. I saw while researching here are Luka's PRA stats. The game after he drops 50. So after 50 points, Luka had 45, 15, and 8, 32, 9, and 9, 35, 12, and 13, 39, 12, and 8, and 31, 8, and 4. Don't be afraid of a letdown versus a mid Cleveland team. Man, yeah, Luka is, man. I could talk about 45 minutes about Luka, man. This dude is amazing. I can't touch Luka unders. Especially if coach is going to continue to play up like that. I was thinking about the game last night, like Luka points sitting at 35.5, 36.5. I was like, will he get there? I know he hates Phoenix. He probably will. But if you Frank Vogel, you got to know that Luka, like no Kyrie, you got to know Luka about to try to come kill you. You got to double Luka every single time. Get the ball out of his hands. Let Tim Hardaway Jr. go for 40. Let Grant Williams and Dante Exum go for 40. I just saw Luka had 15 points in the first quarter. I was like, man, Frank Vogel deserved to be fired last night. I mean, he can't play out there with effort-wise, and they got their good defenders back. Nasir Little came back yesterday, I think. Josh Okogie was there. That's the best two perimeter defenders. They got smoked last night. Appreciate you as well, Navi, for hitting the like button and joining the show as always. The Pistons call the number, bro. Yeah, not the Pistons to win, just the Pistons to cover. Go, young DJ. They can't cover. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. 3-time like Dylan Brooks over his points, rebounds, and assists. Real DJ says, I took the first half Spurs, first half, and Pelicans first half. Okay. Appreciate you as always, Justin, for pulling up. Best of luck tonight, my brother. Let's see. Malik says, is it Bulls offense that's keeping you off the total? Nah, Malik. I want to see what happened with the injury report. Like I said, Vucevic and Trae Young. Like I need to know who's in and who's out, man. Like I can't play these totals, especially without the starting 5 guys being in or out. So that's going to affect the total in a big way. if one of those guys get ruled out. I know Trae Young went through shoot around. It wouldn't surprise me if he's still set. And I need to know what's going on with Vucevic and that growing injury. Vucevic, I feel like not going to play. And then I would need to go back in and look at the numbers a little bit more to see how the Bulls offense does with and without Vucevic. So that's the reason. Young Harlow says, you took Orlando first half money line, bro? No, I did not. Definitely not the money line. That's too juice for me. I would play Orlando on the spread in the first half if I was going to play that. Yeah, cool. That's what I'm thinking, bro. Having Grayson Allen guarding him was a sign he was going to drop 50. If you would have told me, hey, yo, Chris, if Frank Vogel would have said, hey, look, tonight we're gonna have Grayson Allen guarding Luka, I would have hit the button right after that. I don't even care what else he was gonna say after that. Like, you just can't let Luka be guarded by Grayson Allen all game and think you're gonna have a chance to win. Luka is way too talented for that. Coop also says, shout out to Lively for 20 and 10 with no Nurk, aka Baby Shaq. Yeah, they really need Nurkic back. They do. Leroy says, what do you think about Fred VanVleet double-double? Absolutely, Leroy. I talked about his assists at over 8.5. Chase says, Chris, thanks as always. Hope you had a nice holiday. How you feel about over in the Pelicans game? I would lean towards the under, Chase, but I'm also not playing it, so don't let me talk you off of it. I didn't do a lot of deep dive analysis. I just feel like the Pelicans. This is what I feel like about the total. The Grizzlies, since they got Ja Morant back, they've really been a good defensive team. You might potentially get Marcus Smart back as well. We got to remember this about the Grizzlies. They're not a good offensive team, right? You get Ja Morant back. You got Desmond Bane. You got, Jared Jackson Jr., but you still don't have a lot of scoring. Santi Aldama every now and then, like, you don't have a lot of scoring. So if you go through and just like deep dive some of those Grizzlies games since Ja Morant has been back, they've been winning with their defense. They've really been, holding every team under their team total, and they've been winning more with their defense. So their defense is good. The Pelicans are a really good defensive team, and they got all the motivation in this spot to continue to play really good defense. Their last game went under. So I think the game goes under. But I'm also not 100% sure how much these teams are going to care about playing defense the day after Christmas. So, like I said, motivation is everything when you're sports betting, for people who don't know. Go DJ says Luka and KD played over 40 minutes. KD didn't do anything, and Luka demolished them. How is Grayson Allen the Suns' top scorer in a primetime game against Luka and the nobodies? That's my thought. Go DJ. I agree. Brunson dropped 50 on Vogel recently too. Yeah, that's a fact, bigger. Like, it's frustrating, bro, because Vogel, if you don't know, Frank Vogel is a really good coach. He coached the Lakers. He coached my Lakers and helped us win the championship in the bubble. We had really good defenders. He also coached the Indiana Pacers when they were really good defensively. You got Luka over there, bro. I'm no basketball coach, but I know that if I got Luka, I'm sending two. Grant Williams just gonna have to hit 7 threes every single game against me, because I'm not letting Luka kill me one-on-one with Grayson Allen Gardner. I'm just not doing it. Let's see. Players don't give defensive effort anymore. That's why Brooks got paid. That's a fact. That is a fact. Timberwolves money line is good value tonight. Yeah, if it is good. Yeah, Timberwolves could go in there and win. They could absolutely win tonight. Let's see. Oops. On Tari Easton over 11.5 points versus Indiana. Has been playing really well off the bench for Houston. I agree there. I'm not on his points prop, but he has been hooping. I've been watching him play. Jonas Valanciunas over his points, rebounds, and assists. I don't know, Quan. I'm not sure what to do with Jonas Valanciunas. Like I said, I don't know which one of those guys have a big game. It could be any of them in my estimation. The Pelicans got a lot of really talented players. I don't know who they prioritize. Let's see. Oaktown's Finest says, Chris, why do you think Suns took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter last night? Suns should have covered the second half with ease. I don't know if they necessarily took their foot off the gas. I think Dallas, I was watching this. I know what you're talking about. Dallas had like 3 turnovers in a row, and you see Phoenix, like get a whole bunch of steals and convert them into layups. So a lot of the times, watch the trends though in the NBA. I'll just say this real quick, and then I'll open it up to everybody else. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. Watch the trends in the NBA. Watch for this. If you see a team go up by 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 points, 10 to 15 points in the first half, they're a dog. They're not supposed to win the game. What happens is in the third quarter, you see the defensive adjustments are made. The team that is the favorite, that's losing by 10 to 15 points at halftime, they'll fight all the way back into the game. But when you're fighting all the way back into the game, you're exerting all of your energy, and then you run out of gas. And I think that's what happened last night, Oaktown fans. I think they let Dallas jump out to too big of a lead, because then you give your best effort in the third quarter. You don't have enough energy left to really, drive home the win. So I don't think that they let up off the gas. I think they probably should have started with a little bit more energy and effort. Then they wouldn't have found themselves in that position. So that's my thought process. Vaughn says, "What do you think about what do you don't you know games? What games you already went over? I like Franz. I don't know what games you went over already. I like Franz points. Last 5 games, he has 20-3 and 31-31. I could definitely see that against the Wizards defense. What do you think about Nick Richards? Don't really have a lot of thoughts on Nick Richards tonight uh, in this spot, but he could eat JJ. He could definitely eat J Juice against Zubac. Zubac's pretty good though. Grant Williams is so terrible. Pelicans are the hardest team to bet player props. Yeah, that's what I said. It's whoever's hot that night. That's who they're going to force feed. I would agree. Phillips says Laurie Marketing PRA over 33.5 in a high paced game. I can see it getting there. The problem with that though, Philip, is that even for Laurie Marketing, they got a full allotment of guys now too. You got Jordan Clarkson back. You got Keontae George back. Obaji, Fontecchio, all of those guys are hooping. So it's really hard for me to pick who's going to kill for the Jazz. I haven't been watching that team play, so I don't feel comfortable, with any of those player props. So those are my thoughts, man. Let's go to real quick. I got to get up off here. Let's go Godspeed. I know you've been waiting for a minute. See what Godspeed is on. And like I said, my top play is New Orleans first half minus 2.5. Also, like I said, got the Pelicans, not the Pelicans, got the Thunder first half in the best slip. Just waiting on that injury news about Carl Anthony Towns and also about Jalen Williams. Also, favorite player prop of the day, Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points plus rebounds. It didn't quite get there yet, but I'm probably going to end up playing that as well. Probably going to go super light, just those 3 plays. 1 unit, half unit on Jabari Smith Jr. That's what I'm liking today. Godspeed, what's going on, my brother? Happy holidays. What's going on, man? How you?
What's good, Chris? Happy holidays, bro. I'm doing good. How you feeling?
I'm good, bro. I can't complain, man. What you liking for today?
So today, well, first things first, I like to say I'm kind of on a holiday heater, man. 12-3 on the last 15 straight, so we're gonna try to keep that rolling through the new year, man. Keep getting this holiday money back. We spent on the family, the kids. But I'm right with you on Jabari Smith Jr. I took a slightly different angle. I took his rebounds at 9.5. He's over 9.5 rebounds. And the last 6 home games, averaging 11.8. He's had 12 plus rebounds in 4 out of 6 of those games. He averaged 10 rebounds versus Indiana last season, and he's playing with more confidence as far as grabbing rebounds and on the offensive end scoring this season. He's averaging about 17 rebound opportunities, and the Pacers, they give up the ninth most rebounds to the power forward position. I just really see him getting 10 plus rebounds in the game that could be fast paced. We don't really know who's going to dictate the pace of this game. But with these numbers, at first, it's a Pacers team that struggles on the glass. I had to take it, his rebounds. My OKC better today. I'm a Thunder fan. OKC plays basketball today. I got Josh Giddey over 5.5 rebounds. He's over at 8 out of the last 10 home games, averaging 7.8 rebounds. He averaged no, my fault. He's averaging 7.4 rebounds at home this season. 8.4 in the last 5 home games. He's covered in 4 out of the last 6 versus Minnesota, including the one game that we've seen him this season in Minnesota. His numbers are better at home versus on the road. He's averaging, the Timberwolves are giving up the 4th most rebounds to the shooting guard position. If you're going to take this, I would say take it right now, because if J-Dub is ruled out, that number will shoot up. I got it at 5.5 minus like 134 on FanDuel. So another lean was Chet Breeze. You kind of covered that. Well, one of the members on your YouTube, they brought it up, so you kind of touched on that. And my last look, it was my favorite look until I did some more research. It was Sadiq Bey, over 6.5 rebounds. It's only available on PointsBet right now. I will hold off on it because we don't know what's going on with Jalen Johnson, but I'm I'm gonna give y'all my research behind it, just in case Jalen Johnson isn't ruled in, or if Jalen Johnson is ruled in with no minutes restriction. I'll probably look at his rebounds. But Sadiq Bey has gone over 6.5 rebounds in 4 out of the last 5 away games, averaging 9 rebounds. He got 3 games with a double-double. So he got 10 rebounds in 3 out of those 5. He's averaging 6.5 rebounds versus Chicago last season, and they allowed most rebounds to the power forward position. So that was the lean for me. It was my absolute favorite look of the day. I figured PointsBet had it at 6.5 plus money, so I figured we might get 5.5 soft on maybe like minus 130, 135 on the other books, but they refused to list it. Yeah, I didn't see anything before coming on the show. But like I said, if Jalen Johnson is ruled in, I'll probably see what they're gonna do with the number, because I believe Jalen Johnson might be on a minutes restriction. And with that being said, I do still believe Sadiq Bey is gonna get some minutes at the power forward. They might even, I don't know what they're gonna do. They might start him at small forward. They might start Bogey. Bogey owns the Bulls as well, so that's a good look. But if they come out and say Jalen Johnson, no minutes restriction, it's the Jalen Johnson thing. It just depends on the injury report, bro. You just got to sit and wait. So I do like the power forward position versus the Chicago Bulls on the glass. I'm gonna drop that play publicly. So if you all want to know what I'm gonna who I'm gonna take, just drop me a follow, bro. It'll be on my page when the injury news is out.
Okay. I mean, I couldn't talk you off of waiting, guys, being and figuring out, like just so you could, get more bang for your buck, man. I was giving out plays that feel like a lot earlier in the day on the season, and now it's like, nah, I think I'm gonna just wait and kind of, just trying to make sure I'm getting the best news. We see so many people get ruled out. It's also the holiday time, man. Like I said, you see a lot of, I'm not gonna say unmotivated, but I would say Kevin Durant last night was unmotivated, and somebody tagged me in a play earlier. I think it might have been yesterday, where they had put like $10 on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna post it real quick. Somebody dropped this play yesterday. They played like all these star players to go under, and I know a lot of people don't like betting on unders, but I like betting on what makes money. So it was a $10 entry to win $1,000 at 100x. They played Devin Booker to go under his points, KD, Tyrese Maxey, uh, Tyler Hero, all to go under their points. Jalen Brown to go under. Jalen Brunson, I'm sorry, Jason Tatum and LeBron James to go under. They only had one over, and it was DeAnthony Melton over 12.5. And they won, like I said, they won $1,000 off a $10 entry yesterday. And it also had Devin Booker under, Kevin Durant under, Derrick Jones Jr. to hit 2 threes, and Derek Lively to get a double-double. And this is what's winning, right? Like I said, the longer the season goes, the more precise these books are going to get. So I know people just want to take overs, but overs ain't always what cash. Sometimes you got to play the unders and live with the results no matter what. So I'm gonna get back to the unders, specifically on days where I kind of struggle with motivation. To me, if I'm not locked in on what I think your motivation is going to be, then I think it's more of an under type game, under type play. So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes.
No worries for Kevin Durant, bro. It was supposed to be a crazy day yesterday. Hit a first touchdown, round robin. Hit 2 of them. It was about a plus, maybe like 2,500. It was a plus 10K, but Christian McCaffrey, we seen what Brock Purdy do. And then Tyrese Maxey stopped me from hitting a couple other parlays with the 6 assists, my
Yep.
3. And then Kevin Durant, I guess Devin Booker just told him like, yeah, we ain't gonna do shit again. So tonight or whatever, bro. Like, bro, I don't know, bro.
That's what I mean, guys. B. That's exactly what I mean, bro. So real quick, and I appreciate you guys, B. Best of luck tonight, bro. Real quick, so Malik Monk did just get rolled in. I do like that total to go over. It's probably gonna be on the move. That's one of the last games tonight, and it's already going up. So 237 right now. It's probably close about 238. I do think that game goes over. And then I also want to get the Raptors fan because I haven't heard from him in a while. Raptors fan, what's going on, my brother? Talk to me.
Yo, what's good, Chris?
How you, man?
I'm
good, man. Happy holidays to you and yours, bro.
Happy holidays to you and yours, bro. Right back at you.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I was very concerned because I'm looking at Franz Wagner, his points line at 24 and a half. Right now, FanDuel is sitting at minus 104, but I'm trying to figure out why the line is the way it is. The only thing I could think of was, uh, they're on the first leg of a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the Wizards, but the matchup the matchup is, in my opinion, a smash spot. If you look at the numbers across the board, points, rebounds, assists, threes, the Wizards practically give up points to the forward position, you know, uh, very heavily as far as over the past couple of days. Notable guys like Kevin Durant being one of them. So can you give me like some kind of I would say like some kind of input on that particular line before I play it?
On Franz specifically?
Yeah, just France specifically. I mean, you can go in depth if you want.
Nah. All right. So let's see. So if I'm looking at Franz points today, the first thing that's gonna keep me off, like you said, and it's not like it shouldn't necessarily keep everybody off, but I'm real big on like players and look ahead spots. So I would go through, and I'm not gonna be able to do it right now, but I would go through and look at Franz on the first leg of back-to-back games. I would like to look at his box scores. I think you might be able to do it through like props.cash where you can see like if their next rest equals 0 or something like that. Or I could just go through it like in the SDQL and look at it as well. But I would look at him specifically, on the first leg of back-to-back games. Then I would also go back, of course, and check. I'm pretty sure he killed them already, but I would look at Franz this year in those first couple matchups against the Washington Wizards and look at those numbers. Let's see real quick. I can't look at that. So Franz this year, he's played against the Wizards three times already. Well, two times already this year. He had 31 in both of those games. 8 assists, 3 assists. So yeah, he's been killing them. Last couple games against the Pacers, 24, against the Bucks, 29. Um, yeah, I can't really talk you off of this one. The other thing that comes to my mind though, real quick, Raptors fan, it would be Paulo. I know his usage has gone up. And he's like, I've been reading about Paulo potentially, making an All-Star team this year, which is crazy. But I mean, he is having like, that good of a year. I know he absolutely destroyed the Indiana Pacers in that last game. But it could be, a spot where both of them go off. He had 34 points in that last game, 23 against Indiana. I'm looking at shot attempts. I see 20, I see 17, 30, 12. Let's see. Looking at Franz shot attempts, I see 17, 14, 14, and he's shooting above 50% in every single game. So I can't talk you off, Raptors fan. I just think, the only thing that would give me a little cause for concern is the look ahead spot. But do you kind of feel like the game goes over? Raptors fan? You think the game goes over or you think it goes under?
You know what? Something else I was thinking of too, because I think I'm starting to correlating. If if the total goes over, I think that props go over, and
Mm-hmm.
vice
Me too.
versa
Me
with
too.
under.
Me too.
So I was thinking, I was like, okay, like you said, how motivated are these guys going to be? I looked at the look ahead spot, and I was like, I don't know, man. This feels like a trap line to me, man. I was like, I don't want to take the over and then look crazy and be wondering, well, why he didn't go over? It was easy because they got
Mm-hmm.
the 76ers the next day. You want to be, it's a get up spot, as you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I think in this case, I probably might take the under, but I haven't gotten there yet. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think so I'm looking at the bench, right? Like going back to their last game, they played, it looks like Coach Mosley went looks like he went looks like he went 10 deep. So so Jonathan Isaac has already been ruled out. So that's one player that's gonna be gone. And then if Jalen Suggs doesn't play, that's even more usage he's gonna have because Jalen Suggs played in that last game. He had 15 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds. I would I would I don't. I like catching players in buy low spots. I don't like necessarily playing on them, in high spots. Where you're kind of like stocks. Like you want to sell when they're high, you want to buy when they're low. Um,
Right.
but who else is going to contribute in this spot? Especially if Jalen Suggs doesn't play, I would definitely say look towards his over here, Raptors fan, because like I said, Isaac is already out, and they only went 10 deep in that last game.
You know what? I also thought of the impact that Wendell Carter has had so far coming back those
Mm,
couple few games. maybe those guys look to this game being all right, let's get him back in the groove kind of thing. Because at one point he used to average a not triple
double, yeah. Yeah, no,
so,
yep.
Right here will probably be an advantageous matchup for Wendell Carter, if I would be honest.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And we know what the Wizards do against centers. They struggle. They really, really struggle against centers. So, and the Wizards also just in a flat spot, Raptors fan. I low key think that Wizards team total under is another way that I would play this game. You see it all the time with these teams, these East Coast teams coming back home off West Coast road trips. They've been, 4 or 5 games on the West Coast. And it's been grueling, right? Like we just saw with the Knicks the other day. Knicks couldn't score a shot the other day when I took that over, and the game goes a half a point under the full total. And they were playing against the Bucks. We know that the Bucks defense is not good, but they get their feet underneath them a little bit, and you see them play a lot better in the game yesterday at home and win that game outright as 3-point dogs. They scored 120 points, but only scored 124 points yesterday. I think they scored 111 in that game the other day. So if the Wizards were able to, if they did the same thing and we didn't see them score as many points in this spot, is one of the reasons why I said I kind of like the full game under, because I think the Wizards could, not run out of gas, but it's tough in that first game back coming off those West Coast road trips. So I think they could struggle a little bit, and that could lead towards, Wagner and potentially Paulo not to have to do as much in this game.
I agree. I'm gonna get there with you on that under for sure. That sounds a whole lot better than strictly looking at Franz's props over. I mean, hell, even with Wendell Carter, man, I might get there with Wendell Carter, but we'll see. That was something I think on. But for sure, the full total for the game to go under sounds like a good look to me.
Feel right? Yeah, it just kind of feel right. Yeah, we'll see. I guess I haven't gotten there yet. I lean Orlando first half, and I lean towards the under in the full game. Just all my numbers kind of say that. Like everything that I looked at kind of say that this game goes under in this spot. And real quick, I let's see what I had. What I wrote down was, I wrote down So yeah, so they're 5-2. Home favorites, road favorites playing on the first leg of a back-to-back in a conference game where the line is between 4 and 8. So they're having to win by multiple possessions, but not double digits. They're 5-2 to the under since the start of the 2018 season. Orlando also has gone 5-1 to the under when they're playing against a team that has a 40% win percentage or less, and they're on the road. So that's what I have written in my notes. I think that they, they're gonna look good against these weak offensive teams, I think, in my estimation, and they can kind of lean on their defense a little bit more. But both games so far have been high scoring against these two teams, and that's what kind of held me off. Washington also really struggles in this spot, going over 7 games in a row off a 4-game road trip since the start of the 2021 season. So those things kind of kept me off just a tad bit. Orlando also could conserve some defensive energy tonight because they are on the first leg of back-to-back and want to play a little bit more defense tomorrow. They are a young team, so they probably could come into this game thinking, you know what, like we can win with our offense, and then we'll play defense tomorrow when we need to. And that would actually be a play on, Raptors fan. When I'm going back and forth like that, like this is literally me capping the game out loud. When I'm going back and forth like that, and I'm finding these numbers and I'm finding those numbers, that's when I tend to stay off. And I either play it live or I'll just stay off and say, you know what, like I'm cool. No matter what happens, I had enough evidence on both sides.
I agree. It sounds good to me. I think I'm definitely going to look more into that for sure. I really do want to get on that under so bad. But now that you said that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Might think about it some more.
Yeah, nah, for sure. It's a lot to think about, man, before I go official with these plays, man. It's just just a brief synopsis of the the insight that I'm, all the things that I'm kind of looking at before I make these plays official or not, man. But appreciate you, Raptors fan. Best of luck with whatever you play tonight, my brother.
Thanks, bro. No doubt, Richard.
Absolutely. So that's it for me, man. That's it. Like I said, 2 plays. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I want to say it's a large card for tomorrow as well. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6 games tomorrow. Some pretty good spots tomorrow as well. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, New Orleans first half minus the 2.5 is what I did play. Thunder first half minus the half a point, also in the bet slip. And then, like I said, Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points plus rebounds. My favorite prop of the day. And anything else happens with totals and players and stuff like that, I may end up adding something else super light. But I'm gonna get back to just a couple plays a day. especially in, like what I want to call like uncharted waters. We don't know how these players gonna respond after the Christmas Day game. Anybody that's listening that had to go back to work today might not have had their best work today either, especially after Christmas and family and that type of thing. So that's just my thought process, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Hit the like button. Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
One more thing. I want to go ahead and put this out here because my boy Cam got it. But listen, man. December 30th, mark your calendar. If the Toronto do not beat the Detroit Pistons, you will not see my face in his faces. I tell you, I don't want us to be the team that loses to these guys, but I'm telling you, won't see me.
Okay, yeah. Now I was looking into their schedule as well. That's who they play. They play Boston and they play y'all. So yeah, they got the Raptors coming up, man. Raptors gonna have to turn up for that one. We'll see how it goes though. We'll see how it goes. Hey, best of luck, man. Hey, and best of luck to everybody tonight, man. Like I said, top 3 plays. For me, I only played one so far, but the other 2 are on the list. Pelicans, I played -2.5. OKC minus the half a point in the first half. I need Jalen Williams in. I need to see what happened with Cat. And then also Jabari Smith Jr. over his 26.5 points plus rebounds. So best of luck to everybody tonight, man. I hope you guys get some cash, and we'll be back tomorrow to do this thing all over again. I'm out.